Hi, my name is Sierra Dillon, and my educational thinker presentation is on Emma Willard. I chose to present about Emma Willard because I hadn't heard her name before, and when I looked her up, I saw that she had some very strong educational views and worked hard for women to have equal access to higher education. A little bit about Emma's life. Emma was a women's rights activist. She was born in 1787 in Connecticut, and she was the 16th of 17 children. She married John Willard. He had 4 children, so they became her stepchildren, and together they had one biological son. Also, for some time, she had her nephew living with her while he was going to school, and he would later become a very big and important role in her life. From a young age, Emma was very interested in education. She was also supported by her family in her love for education. She went to finishing school and within 2 years was able to teach there and then traveled around as well before opening her own school. She became a women's rights activist and fought for adequate education for women. She worked in Massachusetts for a while and then worked in Vermont before moving to New York to open her own school. She opened the first school for women in higher education and taught most of the same subjects that were taught in men's higher educational schools as well. She was the head of the school for a long time and then later left it in the hands of her biological son and his wife. After she gave the school to her son and daughter-in-law, she traveled all throughout America and Europe and promoted women's rights as well as access to higher education for women. Her educational ideas. She had a strong focus on a different curriculum than what was offered for most women at her time. In her time, women mainly went to a finishing school, which was less than what the men went to. Her focus was that women should also learn mathematics, philosophy, geography, history, science, politics, and more. She believed that women could learn and master these subjects just as well as men could. Her school covered this curriculum and became very popular. At one point, she even had over 300 students who were women, mainly from wealthy families. It was a boarding school that women would go to and learn curriculum such as math and science, which was very rare for actually not around at all at this time. Her educational influences. Her first educational influence was John Willard, who was her nephew. They had many discussions about his education while he was living with her while he was in school. Through these conversations, she learned that she was able to create a school for women that would cover the same topics that her son John, or that her nephew John, was also learning while he was in school. Her father was also an educational influence in her life. He supported her love for learning and included her in important conversations. From a young age, her knowledge was supported, which helped her to accomplish these goals later in her life. Also, a major educational influence in her life was herself. At the age of 13, she was able to teach herself geometry, and from then on, she just continued to learn and continued to try her best to make sure that all women had the same opportunities as men could in the educational field. She was also the first one to open a women's school and therefore needed to work really hard and believe in herself in order to do this. During her time, there were many critics that believed that school for higher education for women wasn't necessary. A lot of people believed that finishing school was enough for women. One critique that I would have is that she should also promote other job preparation. Her school was very important and taught a lot about mathematics and science and philosophy and history. But one thing that she could have done as well is gear women toward working in the future. Because if you have all of this general education, You should have a focus on what you're going to do with it after you receive your degree. Overall, I think that Emma Willard is an amazing woman that accomplished a lot of things in the educational field. She worked hard and started her own school and focused on the curriculum that she believed in, and I think that that is a great educational thinker.